In this film we're going to be troubleshooting the old LH100 handsets. They've had quite a life. This one is, I think, well, it's got an Arnold sticker on the back, so Arnold went in 2003, 2004. So this is heading towards 20 years old, this one. The one I've got open here is 2006 because it quite nicely got a date stamp inside it still. Often the sticker has peeled off and gone. So the typical symptoms that you will see is keys that don't immediately light up. So this one is all working, but if you find that when you press a button and it just doesn't respond, it's not quite what you think. It's not necessarily the keypad's fault. So what happens over time is oxidation, basically. You can see on these little clear pads here, they should be silver, they have oxidized down. The area that we're interested in is this chip holder, and what can happen over time is that the contacts degrade all around the chip. The fix is to use a chip puller, which is this tool here. Pull the chip, push it in, and do that 3 or 4 times, and what that does is scrape all the contacts, and then usually it will repair the push button functionality. So the natural thought is to think that it is just dirty under here, and sometimes it can be. They're not hermetically sealed. Dirt and dust can get in there, so an electrical cleaner on here may solve your issue, but 9 times out of 10 it is actually the contacts around this chip that are slowly oxidizing. So pulling the chip and pushing it back in cleans up the contacts. The other failure that people are seeing is a cable failure, and what tends to happen is either the screen won't light up or it sticks with LH100 on the screen. Where the cable leaves the handset is a little crimp point, and as it moves around slowly over time it's fraying the multi-core cables inside these 4 cables. So if one of those eventually loses contact, then the handset will freeze, and the solution to that is to cut the cable just outside the crimp mark, bare the wires, and then resolder in the same order as is shown as it was wired originally. The colour codes are fairly consistent, but sometimes people have replaced the cables, so just take a note of the colour codes of the wires that are actually on there. You've got the 4 points LMAB are marked on the circuit board, and just make sure that the same wire goes back to the same wire. So this particular handset has got a third, even rarer failure. Some of the keys just wouldn't work at all, and what it is, and I don't think we can see it here, I might take some close-up photos. These little cross links, there are cross links across from the top to the bottom of the board. They have corroded quite badly, and in some areas there's like a black bloom around them. It's not all that visible. I have actually oddly enough cleaned this up to repair it. Oh, it's more visible on this side. Here we are. So around each of the cross points it's got a big black circle. So that is the material oxidizing, and in some cases it's broken the link between the top and the bottom of the board. And the symptom you have is that some of the keys work and some just don't work at all. The fix is to take some fine decoder wire, bare the end, push it through the hole, obviously clean up both sides of the cross link, and solder a small wire bridge between the two. So literally you solder the tip of the wire to one side and do it on the other side as well. So on this circuit board there's 4 positions where I found that the links are completely broken, and I suspect over time a lot of these other links are heading out. The trouble is, where do you stop? There's 40 cross links. It's going to take me hours to solder bridges into all of them, so I've only repaired the ones that are in need of repair at the moment. But it is 18 years old, and it's clear that humidity is getting to it slowly. So despite being almost 2 decades old, these handsets are still very useful. We'd like to keep them going as long as possible. I think it's wasteful if we're throwing them out just for small fixes. They are subject to wear and corrosion, as you can see, but they are more or less, if they're on version 3.6, they're more or less current on DCC. They'll certainly cover what 99% of modelers want to do. I know that there are slow moves now towards 69 loco functions. In reality, what we're seeing is locos coming through now with 31 decoder functions, and even then, when they've got 7 alternate bells and whistles, you kind of wonder why. But slowly it's going to happen. But as I say, we'd like to keep them going. I think it's this one's quite extreme. This is the very first one where I've had to repair the cross links, so this is quite an extreme case.